Welcome back. Another wonderful day of Photoshop. I'm going to show you how to easily and quickly make a photo just like this. You don't have to do everything, but we have a glitched out effect with the sideways glitches. We have a bit of static inputted on top of this. And we also have the red and blue old-fashioned sort of 3D lensed stereoscopic look. Now you can do anything you want in between. You can adjust things more or less, but this is just a quick tip on how to do something like this, and it's really easy. First step is to import your photo into Photoshop. The best way, and this is standard practice, well for me at least, is to find the photo, right click, open with Photoshop. And what Photoshop does is it takes the proper resolution and bitrate for that photo and it makes it work just perfectly. If you go to File, New, and do it this way with set your own resolution, your own bitrate, and your own color mode, you might have the wrong setup for that given photo, which actually ends up removing some tools and some functions, and you don't really want that. So the best practice, at least what I say, is to right click, open with. Now we're set up. Now the next step is pretty common as well, is Command J or Control J, and it copies that background layer, and that way we have the original still there, just in case we want to go back and do something more or redo something in a different way. This new layer, layer number 1, we're going to go up to the image drop down menu on the top. You can't see it here on my screen, but there's File, Edit, Image, Layer, Type, Select, and so on. Go to Image, Adjustments, Black and White, and we will get this. Just leave this the way it is. You can change it later, but for right now, just leave it. Hit OK, and we're done. We have a black and white layer. Another way is to go to Adjustments, which is under Window, Adjustments, and this pops up on the tool panel on the right hand side, and you'll have black and white. This is totally different. It's the same in the end, but it's a different function, different way of going around it. Let's just stick with the way we just did with Image, Adjustments, Black and White. Next step, this black and white layer, we're going to copy it again. So Command J, or you can right click and you go to Duplicate Layer, which is, if I can read properly, right here, Duplicate Layer. Copy, okay, good, I'm set. Next step, double click that layer or right click Blending Options. Gives you the exact same thing, so double click, Blending Options. If you get this, if you look on the right hand side here, with layers being able to change the name, then you just double click on the actual word itself. If you double click on the open space, you will get this. So just watch that. It happens to me all the time. It's just the slip of the mouse. Leave the rest alone. Leave the defaulted blending options tab. So you have all this stuff, turn that off. Blending options, and we have advanced blending. This little check box beside the R for red, just get rid of it. Green and blue, leave it the way it is. So only red, hit OK. And now this one layer has the red removed and adjusted. And now we're going to drag over. So make sure your movement tool, your move tool, or V for short on the keyboard. The new layer is selected and we just drag it over just a bit. And we're going to get that red and blue old 3D style image. And that's really it for that. You can adjust things back and forth. You can move it even more if you really want something insane. But let's just go right there and we're good to go. If you want the static, this is where you do. You find a static photo. I have this one. You can use black lines, black and white lines. You can use any color if you want to, but the best bet is to have black and white. So if you have a colored static, if you drag that in, you want to that layer, the static layer you drag in that has color on it, go back to Image, Adjustments, Black and White. You're going to want whatever static or imported photo for this effect to be black and white. To drag it in, I'm going to zoom out, Command or Control minus. Plus and minus zooms in and out with Command and Control. So to hold it down and have at her. Make that photo large enough. If you hold if you hold Shift, holding Shift, you can adjust the actual proportions. But if you wanted to keep the same proportions, the same width and height retrospectively to each other, just leave it the way it is. Actually, it used to be different. Photoshop used to have it so you have to hold Shift to keep proportions, and I'm really happy to say that they finally changed that in the past year, I think, maybe a bit bit longer, but around that time frame. So now we are set, and we push enter and we are locked in. If you want to change it again, just hit Command or Control T, and that transforms it. T for transform. Enter. We're all set up. So again, you can make sure it's black and white, adjustments, black and white, and it goes to black and white. There was a bit of color there. If you look, go back, a little bit of blue, I think, in there. So image, adjustments, black and white, and we are set. The next step is to take this layer, and we are going to go to the normal here. We're going to bring it down to overlay. You can mess with these ones if you want, but we're going to go to overlay. We're also going to take the opacity, and we are going to bring it down. Let's say, just eyeballing this to, let's go even 15. I don't know why. I like to even it out. Human trait. And we're set. So now we have the static layer, or your horizontal lines, or whatever you drag on top of it, really, for your effect overlay, and the opacity is dependent on you, depending on your preferences and your actual photo itself. You can really make it crazy, but let's go back to that lovely 15. Next step, select your layer. Select the layer below it and the other layer below that. Everything but the background. And we're going to merge the layers into a folder. Easy way is select and just click this little folder button down here, and you get a wonderful little group. This group, we're going to copy it. Same as before, we can go duplicate group right there, or the old-fashioned command or Control J. Next step is really important. This group has a whole bunch of stuff inside it. We are going to make them into a single layer, a single file, or not a single file, a single layered image. We're going to glue all these layers together. So you can go merge group, right click merge group, or you can go Command E, Control E on Windows, and you have a single layer now, not a group. So they're both the exact same thing, just one is a group of all the things we did, and one is everything squished together. This layer here, we are going to keep on top. We're not going to move it. What we're going to do is select our selection tool, rectangular marquee tool, M for short. I'm going to use the keyboard shortcuts. We need these two back and forth. So we have M, and we have V, M, V, M, V, as much as you want. M. Make sure you're on the merged layer, and we have a selection. Go back to V and hold Shift and drag it over. Why do I hold Shift? Because if I drag it over now, when I move up and down, it doesn't move up and down, only horizontal. Same goes for vertical too. If you don't hold Shift, I can actually go anywhere I want, which is not what I want right now. Maybe you do, I don't. There we go, back to M. Big box V over M. Small box V and over M. V. You can go any direction you want. You might snap a bit. If it's snapping too large, if you want a smaller movement, you can always just zoom in and get more fine-tuned movements. If you hold on the space button, a little hand pops up. Use your mouse and just drag around. Hold down space and drag around with your mouse. Click and drag, and you can move anywhere you want without actually moving other things. Go back to M, large, V, M, V. That's the whole thing. There we go. I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to go M, the entire side, V, slide over a bunch, and we're there. Let's do one more at the very bottom. Let's get right there. Let's get a big one. And slide it over just a little bit. Now I'm set. So this is good for me right now. This is just to show you. Once you're done, if you still have the selection, an easy way to get rid of it is to hit Command or Control D, as in Daryl or dog. Command D, and the selection goes away. Now I have my retro image 3D, VHS, whatever you want to call it, the way I like it. Anything you want, Works great, everything works wonderfully, and it's really easy and quick to do. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.